So I'm here at a Jeep Dodge Ram dealership because they just announced that they're going to be laying off.
Another 1,000 employees will be laid off.
Seems like we keep getting layoff after layoff after layoff,
with no sign of any of this ending soon.
But these are actually connected to a certain model, and it's these right here, these Jeep Gladiators.
Difficult but necessary action to reduce high inventory levels by managing production to meet sales. Stellantis is cutting down a shift in the Gladiator JT side of the plant.
Now this dealership has quite a few of them. Looks like they've sold a few. I've been here about a week and a half ago, and this whole line was full of them completely. And now we see we got 1, 2, 3, 4 empty spaces where they had some. And actually, I just saw a salesperson putting on a temp tag on one of the Gladiators. So it looks like they're actually moving a couple, but the reason why they might be is because Jeep is having to take a lot of money off of these Gladiators right now because they haven't been moving them. And it comes all down to price point. So what they had just released is that, okay, because we aren't moving these Gladiators and we have to cut production, we have to fire workers because they're not moving, then we're going to start taking more money off of them. And what they have said is they're taking up to $8,300 off of the 2025 versions of these Gladiators. And it's interesting to see how this market is moving right now, because Jeep Gladiators were one of the vehicles that were very, very highly sought after. About 2 years ago, it was hard for you to find a lot of these sitting on dealerships, and when you did, you would find them with markups, $5,000, $10,000. And now it's getting to a place where they almost can't give these things away without adding huge incentives. Just coming out of Jeep, they're saying they're recognizing this, and on the 2025s, they're taking off up to $8,300 on these things. But let's look. This is a 2024, and this is something that we can talk about a little bit more, because I bet a lot of these out here. Yep, that one's 2024 also. But this is a Gladiator Willys 4x4. Total price is the MSRP on this is $53,760. But here's the interesting thing. All of these sitting right here, at least the ones that I've seen, I'll go check a couple more, but they are 2024 versions, and the 2025s, they're getting delivered right now. So now when you have the 2025s with somewhat similar MSRPs, I know that they raised them just a little bit, but they're very close. When you have them, now they're taking off $8,000, $8,300 off some of those, or they're adding extra incentives on these 2025s to help dealers move. Well, what do these dealers have to do now with these Gladiators? And it's probably the reason why I'm seeing some empty spots here very quickly, because this dealership knows that these 2025s that are coming in, they already have money on the hood. When I say money on the hood, they already have special incentives coming from the manufacturer. You have money off. You have this $8,300, the money off. They have special interest rates. So when a customer comes up onto this lot, talk about this quite a bit. I'm a small used car dealer, and whenever I buy a new car and that new car comes onto my my dealership lot, well, that vehicle is now competing not also with my competitors, that's obvious, right? But it's competing with every other vehicle that's sitting on my lot. So if they take this spot right here and they put a 2025 in there, well, now this 2025 is competing with this 2024 for that customer's money whenever that customer walks up onto the lot. So for them to try to move that 2024, keep in mind that 2024 sitting there, they've paid a lot of interest, and they're going to continue to pay interest on these vehicles as they sit here. This thing is almost celebrating a birthday. I mean, this is a 2024. These came out in 2023, and now we're approaching 2025. So they want to move this 2024 100 times more than they want to sell this 2025 that's coming in to fill this spot. So what do they got to do? Okay, similar MSRP to this, but this has more incentives than this does. So where does the incentive come for this 2024 now? Because Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Stellantis, they're anticipating that, okay, these Jeep dealerships, they should have already sold all their 2024s, so we don't need to add incentives to those 2024s, right? We'll put the incentives on 2025s. So where does the money come off then? Well, it comes from this dealership right here. And when that dealership has to greatly incentivize these 2024s, if they're selling them at around $50,000, the new 2025s are coming in and they can sell those with money off the hood for $45,000. Well, they got to make this 2024 that was $50,000. It's probably got to look more like $40,000 to get a customer to actually buy one. And that's what I think a lot of these dealerships are doing right now. In particular, I think that's exactly what this dealership is doing, because I do think they're a good dealership. They're a good group and they know what they're doing. They have a lot of dealerships. They sell a lot of vehicles. This is why we're seeing empty spaces right here, because they are going to start moving a lot of these 2024s out to make room, one, for the 2025s, and because they don't want these 2024s competing with the new 2025s that are coming in here. I want to look and see if we can find any of these 2025s. Nope, this is also 2024. This is an S though, so this is going to be your lowest model trim, I think, of the Gladiators. But this is a $48,000. This is still almost a $50,000 vehicle. And after you get through fees, everything like that, your doc fee, stuff that you're going to pay here, your fees, F&I, whatever, it's going to be over 50 grand. It's probably $55,000 for this thing. And this is one of the big problems that Jeep has been citing, as far as been one of their big headwinds. Everybody knows, it's not just Jeep that's saying this. Is every analyst on the market, is every person making a YouTube video. I mean, there's been a whole niche on YouTube created just going to car dealerships and say, oh, look at this car. It's too expensive. 100,000 views. I mean, really, if you want to make a YouTube channel and make it successful right now, go to a dealership. Oh, there's a Wagoneer. It's $100,000. Oh, too expensive. Yeah, I don't know. You could put some substance behind that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you see all these videos popping up, just showing how ridiculous the prices are and showing these vehicles and showing how out of touch all these auto manufacturers have been. I mean, this is, I'm just walking right here. I mean, is this not the main example of what we see from these auto manufacturers and how wrong they've gotten something? This is a Wagoneer. It's not a Grand Wagoneer. This is just your Wagoneer. This is your third row SUV right now coming out of Jeep. And wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Wagoneer Series 2, whoop, $81,000. Absolutely ridiculous. And guess what? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I think we'll skip one, 8, that's 18, 19, either 18 or 19. That's just sitting right here. They've probably got some on the other side of the building too. They don't have room to bring in really any more of these things, but I mean, 18, 19 Wagoneers, all at least $75,000, and some of these, there's a Grand Wagoneer over there, it's like $125,000. Yeah, Jeep messed up on this, and this is no secret. And this is something that, I mean, we've been talking about for a very long time, and we're going to continue to talk about until they have a change in the system where they're going to, okay, they're going to provide an affordable vehicle. And here's the problem. I mean, even if the CEO is out next year, is what it looks like, even if all these CEOs of Jeep, Ram, Dodge, even if they get switched, I mean, all the upper level management, it seems like there's been a big shakeup because shareholders don't like the direction of where things are going. I mean, their stock price has lost 50% of its value in the last 6 months. That can't keep going on for you to sustain an actual company that wants to make money. That looks like a company that's going bankrupt. That's exactly what it looks like. But going back to these, I mean, so the Gladiator, one excuse that they did say is that maybe sales of the Gladiator have been getting destroyed because maybe it's too niche. Maybe it's too niche. And they compared it, the analysts that I read, they compared it to like a PT Cruiser, or maybe the VW, the new Bug, or like a Chevy HHR. If you know any of those vehicles, you know these vehicles are very, very niche. There's people that love them out there, and there's people that absolutely hate them. And this is what this one analyst said. Well, maybe that's the problem. I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, you're going to get the consumer that likes the Wrangler because it looks very much like a Wrangler with a bed on it, right? There's a huge market for Wranglers. I mean, Wranglers they've been great, very popular vehicles for years and years and years and years, and they've been a staple. You think Jeep, you think Wrangler, right? I mean, this is just a Wrangler with a bed on the back of it. So I don't think that's the issue. You're also going to get people who want a truck. These look like trucks. They act like trucks. They do off-road stuff. I don't think that excuse really holds any water for these Gladiators. I think it all boils down to price. And I think you can have that across the line of where Jeep has gone so wrong. $50,000 for a Wrangler truck. It's a Gladiator. That's what it is. And that's the low end. That's the low end version. It's very, very expensive. And when you go to these Grand Wagoneers, these Wagoneers, for a big family SUV, if you're paying $100,000, $110,000, $120,000, right now your Grand Wagoneer, your stuff that's sitting over there, your Grand Wagoneer has the highest day supply of any of these large SUVs on the market right now. What is it? Is it because people don't like them? They're big SUVs. They're nice. If people could afford them, they'd probably buy them. It's all price point. Jeep tried to be a luxury brand. It didn't work. And if they keep going that way, it's going to continue to get worse. And it's not a dealership problem. It is a dealership problem now because they have inventory that, they've got to discount to get rid of. So that is a dealership problem now, but it wasn't created by the dealerships. The dealerships didn't create this problem by adding add-ons, markups, because right now you can go to any Jeep dealership across the market right now and you can get a lot of these. I bet you can get these Gladiators right here, probably 20% off. It's not a dealership problem because they can take money off. Came from the factory. It's a Stellantis problem. It's a manufacturer problem. They got to change that, or dealership's going to struggle. A brand that lots and lots and lots of people love is going to go under. Jeep, it's not going to make it if they don't make changes. Bring back the basic Wrangler. Yeah, just give me crank windows and a manual transmission. I mean, what, 5 years ago, that was going to be what, 30 to 35 grand for that. Now, for not a Wagoneer, but for a Wrangler, you're paying $50,000 for that. Too much. It's too much money. So one thing I want to point out, at least while I'm on this side of this dealership, is, I mean, you can see all of these vehicles behind me. White, these cargo, not cargo, but the like delivery vans. You have just these white basic trucks that you see stacking up here at these lots. And these are all fleet vehicles. And I see this a lot at a lot of these dealerships that I go to, that there are tons and tons and tons of these fleet vehicles just stacking up absolutely everywhere. And what we've seen that in the last 3-4 years, that fleet sales have really been a leader for a lot of these manufacturers, Ford, GM, Stellantis. But what we've seen over the last couple quarters is that fleet sales have gone downhill, and they've gone downhill quite a bit. But I want to go through and show you, these are the big ones. This is a 2500. We'll still show you the price of this, but price on this thing is $91,000. And when you're thinking about fleet, you're thinking about trucks that they're going to be buying, these companies are going to be buying these things in bulk. I mean, look at all these. They have to stack up tons of these trucks at these dealerships because a lot of these companies, they buy a lot of them. They buy a lot of them at one time. And at this dealership in particular, I know, because this is a Jeep Dodge Ram dealership, their retail sales have been suffering quite a bit. I've talked to some salespeople here, and that's what they've said. And they've said that their fleet sales have been very strong still, but their retail side has not been great. The salesperson I've talked to that was working over here in fleet, he said there'll be days that on the retail side, they won't even sell one vehicle. This is a massive lot. I mean, this is just their like storage used lot. I mean, they've got brand new vehicles sitting all over here, but their main new car lot is over on that side. That's a massive, massive dealership. For them not to sell one vehicle in a day on the retail side, that's a big problem. And it's not a dealership problem. I think this group that I'm at right here, I go to a lot of their different dealerships. I think they're actually managed pretty well. I think they do good things, and the experiences that I've had here, I bought a couple vehicles from this group. Great. I've been very happy with the service that they're not doing anything wrong here, right? This is a manufacturer problem, what we're seeing right here. And going back to the fleet side of things, where I can loop this back around to it being a big manufacturer problem. You see that 2500 back behind me, it was $91,000. But you think of, okay, what's going to be your cheapest work truck, your cheapest standard thing you're going to get out of Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, and that's going to be your Ram 1500 Classic. Well, it was, but they've actually discontinued that truck, and that truck was coming in at $50,000. And it was the cheapest thing in a truck that you could buy through Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, and now they're not making them anymore. The reason why they're not making them anymore, well, mothership company Stellantis, they don't make enough money off that truck, so they want to keep margins high. So how do you do that? Well, you produce the next level up, and if you force those consumers into fleets like that, well, then Stellantis is going to make a little bit more money. The dealerships, I would assume, are probably not making crazy amount more money as you go up another $5,000, $10,000. Their margins are probably going to be about the same, which in a lot of these cases, they don't make a ton of money off of these trucks anyway, especially when they're selling to fleet, because on back end, they're not really going to make any money off interest. They're not going to be financing a lot of these fleet customers. What the dealerships are going to do is basically just be taking money off and selling volume to a lot of these fleet customers. But I just wanted to come and look, and this is the Ram 1500 e-Torque. We all know how great those are, but the price on this, $59,000. I just want to loop this all back to the beginning of what I was just talking about this. So the Ram Classic 1500, I've seen those, the ones that were left, and they're at $50,000. They even put out a release or whatever talking about how much these Ram 1500 Classics were, right at that $50,000 price point. But they're discontinuing them, and those were the cheapest things that the cheapest trucks that Ram was putting out. That's where the cheapest things that these fleet customers could buy. So now, when you have these Ram 1500s that a fleet customer can come buy, and now they're $60,000 instead of $50,000, well, where are fleet customers going to go at that point? Well, you know what? Ford's got some XLs that are right around that $50,000 range. If we can save about $10,000 on each one of our fleet, everything already costs so much. What are these companies going to do? It's just another bad decision coming out of Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, out of Stellantis, out of their CEO, to cut the lower end of their products to keep the high margin products, and it's going to backfire on them. And it's happening right now, because what are we seeing? We're seeing fleet sales go down, and you're not seeing any $50,000 trucks out here. Cheapest thing that I've seen out here for a fleet customer, $59,000. It's not a dealership problem. This is from the top down. This is where it's coming from. It's a big problem.